One, two, three, four.
I love being able to take a whole bunch of disparate ideas and link them together. I think that I like to think that the world is linked by, this is going to sound so theory, woo woo, metaphysical, but I like to think that the world is linked together by a whole bunch of invisible lines. It's my job to find them. I'm curating the world. I'm curating what I have access to in the world. And then I'm like drawing similarities and differences between them and putting them into conflict with one another and like trying to make sense of what all those things together mean in like a really new way. But I love that sort of continual challenge of like, I've got to become an expert in something in 4 weeks. If I'm designing a show that I know nothing about the subject matter, well, time to start studying. I don't know. I think that that's what sort of keeps me drawing in, that it's like, if I'm feeling empty, I can go to a museum and look around for a bit, and that's just like filling the well again with new stuff. And I need that. I think lately I've been a bit burned out. I think that this pandemic has sort of proven to me that like, oh, I was a lot more burned out than I thought I was, because I was just putting out a lot. Everything was output. The teaching was output. The shows were output. It is very hard to sort of keep outputting without having a whole bunch of input. I both love and hate details at the same time. Like, I love the details and the minutia that the actors can come up with. Like, oh, I think, his favorite color is purple, even though he only wears gray, and I'm like, oh, but here's this little hanky, here's a detail, here's something that might end up meaning a lot to the actor. Every detail in a costume or a set is like, I don't know, it's like an example of a struggle, of a small conflict or a small win or something, that sort of comes to it, that it might be a spark for an actor playing a character, or it might be a spark for someone in the audience who's like, oh, I know that space. I've been there. I know this. If my costume or a detail on a set or the set itself, makes you go, wow, and then you can't put that down for 2 more hours, I failed. I hope that I can transport people. And that's broad. That's, in a lot of ways, like scenically, like transporting people to another world that I've built, something of my invention or something of my coalescing over time. And that, and in writing, like, bringing them to another space and costuming, maybe I give them nostalgia. My own, I mean, why it's the artist's predicament, right? I am very jealous of those who can put a really confident face on the world, and I think too recently I've kind of discovered that I have admitted to myself, I need to continue to admit to myself that there's a part of me that like wants to be seen. Not that I think I want to like act per se, but that I'm interested in mediums like this, that I'm interested in mediums of showing my ability to the world, hence the daily drawing sessions and that kind of thing. I mean, one, for the dopamine, for the hits of getting the likes, but also for just being able to say like, this is me and I'm not going to apologize for that anymore. I've spent a lot of years apologizing for who I am and like why I exist, and I'm trying to figure out how to step out of that while also maintaining the humbleness. I don't know, finding the way that I can convince people that it's like both something that they know aesthetically and something that they recognize, but also something that might make them dream, a little bigger or a little broader, about something, or think about something that hadn't crossed their mind without, like, while watching the play, that subliminally, subversively, I've gotten into their guts and I'm like, I'm rearranging your guts and you're going to think about this later, maybe a year from now when you're talking to a friend and something flashes into your head. So I mean, I would love if all my work could do that, could just be this like little little subversive bug that eats at people. Seems so cruel.